Hey Guitar Fam and friends, it's Nate Savage here, and in this video we're going to take a look at the solo from the Gordon Lightfoot song Sundown. So give this a watch and a listen, and we'll get into the details after this. All right, as you can see, I'm not in my normal spot. We have family visiting, so I'm doing this week's video from our bedroom. But it's okay because the Gordon Lightfoot song, Sundown, the solo for that is fantastic. If you're wanting to start to get into lead guitar, blues, bending, all of those types of things. It's really accessible and it sounds really good. So we have the tab for you and the jam track. Make sure to go to guitarfam.com to download both of those, and while you're there, create your complimentary account so you can access all of our free courses and the first module of all of our premium courses if you haven't already done that. Okay, let's get into this. All right, let's get right into this. This is in the key of F-sharp blues, or you can think of it as F-sharp major, whichever one you like, but Gordon is capoed probably on 2, playing an E7 chord for the entire solo. So that's all we really have to think about, is playing over an F-sharp 7. And to do that, we can think all minor pentatonics for this solo. And our home base for most of this solo is going to be this F-sharp on the A string, on the 9th fret of the A string. So we're gonna be thinking about an A dominant 7 shape or A major shape, but on an F-sharp, right? And the minor pentatonic scale that goes along with this, so one that has the lowest root note on the A string, so just this one. The graphic will be up for you. So this is a great time to work on the scale shape if you haven't gotten it down yet. And you can play these notes on the B string with 1 and 3, first and third fingers, or second and fourth. It's really up to you. But I would say half to 2/3 of this solo uses that scale shape. And we start off on the 11th fret, and that's the 5th of the scale. So start off on the 11th fret of the D string, and then just walk up the scale 9, and then 11 on the G string. And then from there you have the 10th fret of the B string. And you do this little quarter step bend. This is the 3rd of the chord. Like if you had an F-sharp major using the A shape, you'd have a major 3rd in there. If you had an F-sharp minor, you have this minor, and that's the note, the 3rd, the minor 3rd there. And what we're doing to give it a bluesy feel, we're bending it almost up to the major 3rd, but never quite there, because if you go all the way up to the major 3rd, it starts sounding a little square and not quite really bluesy. So just keep that in mind. You may have to practice your quarter step bend and making it sound really bluesy, never quite getting to that major 3rd. Anyway, 11, 9, 11, middle finger, 10 with a quarter step bend, then back to 11 on the G string with your 3rd finger, and throw some vibrato in there. And you can either push up or pull down. I end up liking to pull down. I just like the sound of it better for this particular solo. So, and when I hit that, in my mind, it's just milliseconds, but I like to kind of delay the bend just a little bit to make it sound a little bit more hound doggy, or, you know, a freight train at midnight, really bluesy sounding. But that's the first lick, and really it's the first 2 licks, because you just play it once and you come in on the end of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the end of the 4 of this measure that you're playing, you just restate that exact same lick again. So, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you just play it twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, on the and of 4 of this measure that we just played, you hit that 11th fret of the G string, and then you do a quarter step bend on 10 with your middle finger on the B string on the 1 of the next measure. Then back to 11 on the G, back to 10, do another quarter step bend, back to 11. So, and 1 and 2, 3, Okay, from there, go back to 11, exact same place we started on the D string, then 9, 11 on the G string, 10 on the B string, quarter step bend, 11 on the G string, back to 10 on the B string, another quarter step bend, and then 11 finishes this first 4-bar phrase. 11 on the G string with some vibrato. So let me play that whole thing for you slowly, and then I'll do it up to speed. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you go to that, when you hit this 11 right here is in the third full measure of the solo, you have to roll your third finger over to grab the 11th fret of the D string. So really work on making those quarter step bends as bluesy and not quite to the major third as possible, and then putting in vibrato wherever you want to. There's a vibrato indicators on the tab for you. And another thing I should just mention for the style of the song, he cuts some of these notes short and kind of chokes them. And you just really have to pay attention to how he's playing this in the solo. Listen to it a lot. Even that bend sometimes, there's not choked, there's choked. And there's notes like that all over the place. And I've indicated some of them, like I'll play like that 11th fret. I'll stop that one short some of the time. It's just to fit the style of the song. So that first 4-bar phrase is all been on this one scale. F sharp minor pentatonic, 5th string root note. Next, we're gonna shift for the next little phrase, at least for part of it, and you're gonna go up to fret 14 with your 3rd finger. And what we're doing is we're shifting to this F sharp. I'm thinking about this F sharp major chord that uses the G shape that has the lowest root notes on the low E string on the 14th fret. And I just play a minor pentatonic scale starting from there. There's the same root note on the high E string. And there's another root note that you can think about, this F sharp on the 11th fret of the G string. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about. So we'll start on the 14th fret of the B string, bend it up a whole step, let it back down. So, and I'm using all 3 fingers to bend so it's as easy as possible. And you can double check the pitch of your bend just by going up to the 16th fret and making sure it's as spot on as possible. So 14, up, back down, and then I can grab the 14th fret of the high E string with my pinky, or I can roll my 3rd finger over to grab that 14th fret of the high E. Anyway, after you play that, go to 11th fret of the G string. That's a root note, that's an F sharp, okay? So, my pinky, getting it with my pinky makes it easier to come back and grab the 11th fret with my index finger. So play that once, and then play it again. And that's all we're gonna use out of this shape. Once we hit that point, we're gonna go back to our original scale that we started with, the one with the root note on the A string. Let me play that whole thing for you in time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you start on the downbeat on the 1, so. And the second one, the second bend up, you start is on the and of 4, so just watch out for that. From there, you're gonna go back down, like I said, to the original shape that we're using, and we're gonna stay on, or start on the 12th fret of the high E string with our 3rd finger, and that's on the and of 4. Just a full step bend, you can check that on the 14th fret for pitch if you want. And there's no vibrato in the recording, but sometimes I like to throw it in. After that, 12th fret of the B string, just a little quarter step bend. And to do that, you have to roll your 3rd finger over to that 12th fret of the B string, little quarter step bend, let it back down, 10th fret of the B, 11th fret of the G with your middle finger, so, and then 12th fret with your third finger back to there. Once you play that once, just do it again. Bend on the 12th, quarter step up, let it back down, pull to the 10th fret, 11th fret of the G string, and here's where it gets a little tricky. You have to reach all the way back with your index finger on the 9th fret of the high E string, and then 10th fret of the B string with your middle finger with some vibrato. So from where we came back to this shape, 12th fret, one more time, a little slower. Okay, that's the end of what I would consider the second 4-bar phrase, and now we go kind of back to our opening statement, or something that's very similar to it. So we're going to stick with this major pentatonic scale shape for now. So we're going to start on the and of 4 of the previous measure, and then we get into this next phrase on the 9th fret of the G string, then the 11th fret. Then we have, again, this little quarter step bend on the 10th fret of the B string, then 11th fret of the G, roll over to the 11th fret of the D, 9, 11 of the G, then quarter step bend on 10, B string, middle finger, 11 of the G string, back to a quarter step bend on 10 on the B string, back to 11 on the G. I know that's a lot, but I'll play the whole thing for you. You can see how it's kind of very similar to the opening lick of the solo. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rest on beat 4. And probably the best piece of advice I can give you for learning this solo is listen to it a lot, so you can kind of sing along to it. That'll make playing through the rhythm of this a lot easier, to where you'll be freed up to think about what scale shapes and chord shapes you're using and your bending and all that stuff. So I'm going to play that last, what will be the third phrase of this solo for you, kind of up to speed. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you hear I'm cutting those notes short. Again. Kind of giving it some style there. That's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, from here, the last phrase of the solo cruises down to this F sharp note, and we're going to think about this F sharp dominant 7 chord, the E shape, and our standard 6-string root note minor pentatonic scale for this last little lick. So we're going to have start on the 4th fret of the G string, but we're going to slide up to the 6th fret. Okay? And all that is, they're sliding up to the 5th of the scale, but we come right back down into the scale shape. So come down to 4 on the G string, then 2 on the G string, then 4 on the D string. So the rhythm there is 1, 2, 3, and. So the slide is right on the 1, 2, 3, and from there we have a little blues note that comes in here. So it's not just minor pentatonic, it's blues. And it's the 3rd fret of the A string with your middle finger, and we're going to bend that up a half step to the what would be the 4th fret, and all that is the flat 5 of the scale, the blue note, up to the 5, and then let it back down. And then 2 of the A string, that's the 4th, and then come down here with your pinky, that's the 3rd, the lower 3rd of the scale. So we can bend that up again, just a quarter step bend, and it sounds nice and bluesy. Don't ever quite get to that 3rd. And then we end up on the root note, that F sharp. So I'll do that slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. one more time, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's it for this solo in this video. I'll play it for you again in a second. But if you have any questions about lead guitar, bending technique, how to use scales, how to see the chord shapes within scales, go to guitarfam.com and schedule a personal private one-on-one lesson with me. Every Guitar Fam member, even ones with just the complimentary account, to get one complimentary private one-on-one lesson with me. You can schedule that on the site. Other than that, leave a comment letting us know what other famous guitar solo videos you'd like to see in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.